boom here in a minute to go up with. Here it is, 3rd and 10, and Allen does go down. Boy, he fought it for a long time, but never able to get out of the grasp of James Houston.
James Houston is a guy that can get to the quarterback with regularity.
He's a shade over 6 foot and 240 plus pounds.
Is he a better pure?
Is he the best pure pass rusher on the Lions team?
Yeah, he is.
James Houston got him. Hey, rookie, welcome to the NFL.
He's got some ability, and he can bend, and he can strike, and he's physical.
James Houston had a huge impact with the Detroit Lions in the 7 games that he played last season.
What do you have, 8 sacks, 7 games played?
He was able to amass 8 sacks.
Wow. 7 games, 8 sacks, says it all. He was an absolute problem.
The problem.
The problem.
The problem.
You know, James is a Gator Tiger Lion.
Right.
And it almost didn't happen.
My whole career has just been some crazy storybook.
James Houston IV was born on November 16th, 1998 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, son of James Houston III and Sanja Houston. His father was a 2-time All-American at Missouri State.
They are my biggest supporters, my #1 fans. I always try to find them before the game starts so I know exactly where they're at. My dad will sometimes give me a little tips and tricks, sometimes mouth it to me or anything, and so we've always kind of had that connection on the field.
How much is your dad your inspiration for playing football?
Oh yeah, he got me into the sport. He was a 2-time All-American at his college, and so he's been my #1 supporter, my best coach that I've ever had, and he's just always had my back, always been trying to help me any way that he can.
You're open to the phone calls from Dad, kind of coaching you up, even though you're in the NFL?
Always take coaching from Dad. He always he leads me in the right direction.
James Houston IV attended American Heritage High School. If you know anything about Florida high school football, it's considered one of the best states, and American Heritage dominated the football field.
The American Heritage Patriots know their way to state. 3 out of the last 4 years. In 5A, head coach Pat Surtain, everybody thought that they would fall off. They've won 8 games this year. This is a team to keep an eye on.
They've won Class 5A championships in 2013, 2016, 2017, and 2018. It truly is a pipeline to college football. There are several NFL players, such as Patrick Surtain II, Khalil Herbert, Brian Burns, and Tyson Campbell, who all graduated from American Heritage. The only season he played for American Heritage was his junior season, where he had totaled 37 tackles, a sack, an interception, and a forced fumble. He was absolutely dominant. And even though he suffered an ACL tear, which sidelined him for his senior year, he still had many offers from universities around the nation. But he chose to stay close to home and play for the Florida Gators. Now, his freshman year with the Florida Gators came with a little bit of trouble.
Felony charges have been recommended against several suspended Florida Gator football players. 9 players were suspended indefinitely as part of an alleged scheme that involved the misuse of school funds.
All right, so we're learning more tonight about 9 suspended Gator football players. They face felony charges for making purchases through people's personal accounts at Florida's University Bookstore, other people's accounts. Now, we learned today that the players used credit cards to purchase iPads, laptops, Beat headphones, and other items. Police are saying that those credit cards involved belong to people who are scattered around the country.
James Houston, along with 8 other players, were caught committing credit card fraud.
These are serious charges. They could be pled down because in many cases, not all, they would be first offense. They've got the information, but the damage has been done.
Your name's out there connected with these allegations, whether they are fully true, and some of these players are not as guilty as other players. And so
that's usually the case.
Houston and the other players entered a pre-trial intervention program to have those felony charges dropped. Because of this, he was suspended for the entirety of his freshman season. He had a lot to prove, and so he went to work. In his 2018 season, he started 10 games and had 26 total tackles, with 2 of those being tackles for losses. He also had 2 forced fumbles. In his 2019 season, he played 12 games and had 37 total tackles, with 5 of those being for losses.
My first question for you today is, how do you feel about this season coming up?
I feel like we gonna ball out this year. Everybody, offense, defense, we all gonna be on the same page. You know, we coming for this championship.
In his 2020 season, he played 9 games and had another 37 tackles, with 3.5 of those being for losses.
Florida and Alabama for the SEC championship.
Do you think Florida's going to keep this one close?
What? The Florida Gators got 2 losses on their resume this year.
And we really want our players to focus on the historical significance of winning an SEC championship.
Like, what scenario unfolds where Florida wins this game?
Do I still think Alabama's a better team? Yes, I do. I do think Florida has a chance in this game.
Time for another play. They can't get their players back. It's over. Alabama survives in a great SEC championship game in Atlanta.
That final play emblematic of how tough your defense had to be all night.
Well, I tell you what, they're a very challenging team. And to win the SEC championship is something I'm very proud of. And
the Cotton Bowl, so 2 games in Arlington this year. Again, the Rose Bowl not happening. Oklahoma against Florida.
I wouldn't want to play Oklahoma.
I agree with you.
Oklahoma is a good matchup, but they're not on our level. They're not SEC. They're not the Florida Gators.
Motherfucker.
The Gators were defeated by the Sooners 55-20. James Houston graduated from Florida with a degree in education, but he wasn't done yet.
I felt like it was best that I step away from Florida. I had been there 4 years, so I kind of felt like it was my time. I earned my degree, and so I felt like it was time to move on to something different. And I always wanted to have my HBCU experience, so when the opportunity arose, I bid at it, and I loved it, and I embraced it.
But why Jackson State over FAMU and the other programs you got to offer from?
Jackson State, they have a very rich tradition. I want to represent the school in a great way. It made me want more opportunities, you know, and so that made me seek out Jackson State.
Yeah. Then what was your first impression of Coach Prime?
I mean, everybody know that's prime time.
See, my top plays happened in practice when no one was looking. My top plays happened in Fort Myers, Florida, when none of you knew anything about me. My top plays happened when there was no camera there. See, those are the plays you just caught on camera. Those weren't my top plays because I practiced like I played, so when I played, it would be practice. So there's somebody out there right now, the light ain't on you, but keep making plays. Nobody's talking about you, but keep making plays.
That's right.
I know your sales numbers aren't where your friend is, but keep making plays. I know nobody's talking about you, and you're not on the leaderboard right now, but baby, keep making plays.
With his one season with Jackson State, there was a little bit of a twist.
Play your whole life playing linebacker, you switch 1 year, have a crazy year.
Because you were more of an off-the-ball linebacker at Florida.
Yeah.
I've been a linebacker all my life, so I wanted to play linebacker.
I have a question for you though. Why do you think I'm selfish?
Because when I'm telling you the position to play, you're acting like, well, I should be a linebacker.
Because I know the talent that I have. Y'all may have put a cap on my talent here. I know exactly what I can take.
Coach Prime convinced him to move to defensive end.
And obviously there was pushback initially. I was like, man, y'all tripping. Y'all don't know what y'all doing. Like, I don't know what y'all thought this was, but this ain't it.
James Houston is an extraordinary talent that we've seen rushing the passer, and we saw his rushing ability. I went to the coaches, and I think they already had the thought that he probably would be arguably our best pass rusher if we moved him, so we moved him.
Coming in, it was tough. They had their guys, they had both of them guys, and they was trying to work me in, but it just wasn't working the way that they wanted to, and I could feel it, they could feel it. You either gonna quit, you know what I'm saying, or you gonna do what they say, you're gonna keep playing football, the game that you love. It took me about a week to really, really accept it, like, okay, like, this might be my new position.
No complacency. Kill a gnat with a sledgehammer. When we got him down, finish him. Finish him. God, this is the moment. This is our time. This is what you worked for. This is what you prayed about. This is what you wanted when you came here. And then some. And everybody that ain't with us, we gonna get rid of you. I promise you that. Who with me? Let's go.
It's intercepted by James Houston and is in for the touchdown.
Carolina State wins. Came in as a big underdog, but they beat Coach Prime. So JSU would just concede this victory.
Leaving Jackson or like the last game, the Celebration Bowl, thinking we gonna close it out with a good dub, finish out the year strong, we lose, and that was disheartening, wanted to finish it out strong, especially for Jackson State.
Man, I had a great time. I'm so glad I just got to kind of get that HBCU experience, even if it was for, 6 months.
I'm 16 and a half sacks, man. I really had to work for those back in Jackson. It was really fun, though. That was probably the funnest year I ever had playing football.
It was helpful for me because I didn't really have too much experience, playing like ball, really. Like, I played, for 3-4 years at Florida, but I never played a whole game like that, you know what I'm saying? And even in high school, like I played 1 year in high school, junior year, that's really it. And so I didn't really have too much experience, and getting to Jackson and playing every down, every game, that was exactly what I needed.
His college days were behind him, on to the pros.
All right, so draft weekend, a couple of weeks coming up, right?
I'm very different. I haven't been pass rushing for very long. It's probably been 14, 16, 17 months since I've really started pass rushing.
I got to work harder, you know what I'm saying? They don't see what I showed, so I got to show them something else. And so going to that, and then that's why I made the decision, to come to the NFLPA Bowl game and also do the East-West Shrine game, because I knew I needed those looks. I knew they didn't see whatever, I put on tape.
But your pro day, they said it was off the charts.
Waiting around for the draft. Those first 2 days were a little tough, and then that third day sitting around and waiting.
I like your versatility, and versatility is important in the National Football League. Yeah. A lot of guys call you a hybrid, a tweener, so to speak.
Just a little scary, you don't know where you're gonna lie.
Where he should go, we don't know.
But I had kind of come to terms that I was a ball player, and wherever I went, or if I didn't go, I was gonna be fine, and I was gonna be straight. So eventually, you know, Detroit picked me up, and I was just ecstatic, just happy that somebody wanted me, you know.
You were drafted 6th round, 217, I believe, overall.
Just a combination of everything has really made me a very versatile player.
Now, you went through some trials and tribulations. You went from being drafted, going through training camp. Of course, you were released at the 53-man roster.
James Houston was waived.
And obviously I was hurt because, you know, you drafted me and then you cut me. I was the only drafted guy to get cut.
It was around this time that James Houston considered quitting football completely.
I've never been cut from, you know, anything in my life. Nobody's ever really said like they didn't want me anymore or anything like that. And especially coming from a team that drafted me a month before.
They brought him back in the practice squad.
And then being cut and then being brought back. What's your thought process?
It's tough, you know, you either gotta accept it and go hard, you know what I'm saying, or you might just crumble and fail.
I'm really hoping to stay in Detroit as long as I can. Love Detroit.
Me just believing in myself, knowing, you know, I had the talent that I could do that, I could play in the NFL.
He worked his tail off.
Putting my head down and just going to work.
You put your head down, you grind on the practice squad.
Grind and just grind like, you know, it ain't gonna be another tomorrow.
I just want to continue to build. I'm always trying to be better than what I am. I'm never trying to stay where I'm at. Just effort, and just trying to get better, going against, you know, some of the best tackles in the NFL, and every day, and just getting better, sharpening my tools. And
Penny said the same thing. He said, look, we just went at it every day, and I didn't even look at him as a scout guy.
So there's somebody out there right now, the light ain't on you, but keep making plays. Nobody's talking about you, but keep making plays.
That's right.
I know your sales numbers aren't where your friend is, but keep making plays. I know nobody's talking about you, and you're not on the leaderboard right now, but baby, keep making plays.
12 weeks, sitting on the practice squad, just trying to learn and grow. I kind of went into a mindset of just grind, you know, and eventually, you know, some of the coaches, they took notice to it. Thanksgiving, you know what I'm saying? That was just blessing. Like, you give me my opportunity on Thanksgiving, bro. And my LB coach called me Coach Shep. And he just had the biggest smile on his face. He don't never really, you know, FaceTime me. He called me on the phone, he's like, he said, "Problem, you ready to sack Josh Allen?" I said, "What?" I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Let's go." I said, "I'm ready."